Hello and welcome to another live edition of the Nittany Dispatch. I am John Sauber, Penn State beat writer at the Sender Daily Times. She is Audrey Snyder, doing the same at InsideTheLines.substack.com. And we are here to talk about the Pinstripe. No, I'm kidding.
We're not? What do you mean?
New Penn State head coach Matt Campbell was introduced today. Had a press conference, had a small meeting with reporters afterwards. There's a lot to discuss, including Zane Durant opting out tonight, doing that about, 30 minutes before the show started.
Yeah. Probably one of many Pinstripe opt-outs, yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, we won't be in that group. Where would you like to begin today?
Initial, I think, reactions of Matt Campbell in the intro presser. I think that's probably where we should start. I have a piece up on Inside the Lions that I just hit publish on about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes ago. Fresh off the press. John, I think this guy gets it. I left there today saying, oh my God, Penn State hired someone who is grateful to be here, who seems to have a grasp on this place, its legacy, its past. Again, it's the honeymoon period. I get it. I think Matt Campbell is the perfect fit for Penn State football. And we talked about it last week. The guy has built a program at Iowa State, which is an insanely difficult place to win. And he's done it, right? You've done more, or you've done the same, I guess we could say, with much less. Yeah, I think Penn State absolutely nailed the hire, as we talked about before. Bumpy landing, which we got into that a little bit today. I asked Kraft kind of about the timeline. But yeah, I just think they got a head coach who perfectly aligns with the fan base. He didn't sit up here and say, you know what, guys, facilities, they're not good enough. Not good enough. The schedule, we don't like it. Now, again, day one. He's not going to say that day one. But everything I've heard about the guy is that this is who he is. And he's a ball coach, John, and he's here to win.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I do think that bumpy landing, or the bumpy search, I guess, is a big part of this, even though it wasn't today. For what it's worth, if you would like to read more about that, I know Audrey has something written about that on InsideLines.substack.com. I actually wrote about it. We published this morning on SenderDaily.com, going as much as I could say step by step on kind of why this all happened. We'll talk about some of that here today, but probably going to save all the good stuff for those of you who want to go subscribe, go to read it. But yeah, this was a search that it wasn't going good. 5 days ago, 6 days ago, from my understanding.
About last Monday at this time is when we were all getting introduced to the crumble cookie guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, I don't think Penn State had any anticipation that anything was going to fall apart with BYU head coach Sitake at the time. Then within 24 hours, it had. And I think it is an open question. And don't worry, we're not going to dwell on Sitake that long. But I think it is an open question how aggressively how much he really wanted the Penn State job, and how much was leverage. And I don't know that we'll ever know the answer to that unless he just comes out and says whatever. But yeah, I think it ended up in a place where Penn State had to scramble a little bit. They had to circle back on some candidates, and we're sort of reintroduced to Matt Campbell after an attempt to reach him, is how I'll say it, fell on the incorrect ears, and it was conveyed to Penn State that Campbell was not interested at the time, which was not the case. And then, when it rolls around, he ends up, voicing that, yes, I'm very much interested. And within 48 hours from their first meeting with him, with Pat Kraft on Zoom with him Wednesday night, within 48 hours, everything was agreed to and set to happen. But yeah, I think ultimately, regardless of all of the stuff that happened, I think Penn State landed in the right place here.
Yeah, the timeline is fascinating, and that is going to be kind of the big what if of this search. We're forever gonna link all these candidates this cycle, right? We talked about it many times on here about, hey, it might take 2 years till we really know kind of what how any of these jobs play out. But yeah, to me, I thought it was fascinating when Campbell sat down with, a smaller group of local beat reporters. John and I were in that group, and he said he doesn't have an agent. Right? Does not have an agent, which is wild.
Yeah. Just to clarify that a little bit, he doesn't have a formal, he's not signed with an agency. He does rely on people in that world for contract negotiations and everything.
He ain't running his own contract. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be a little wild not to, but yeah, he does not have a full-time agent that he employs to do these sorts of things for him.
Yeah, and that was part of the hang up with Penn State and the confusion and the trying to get a hold of the guy. But to me, John, this screams, oh my God, this guy is so refreshing because he came across as a throwback, right? It's the toughness, the grit, the extended family in the coal mine, and that, he wants a team that's going to be tough and reflect these values. And, you know, they didn't have a lot of money at Iowa State for your roster and all these things, but they kept winning. And wow, like, it's nice that I'm here. I'm grateful to be here. Like, to me, the tenor of today was like, again, this is a guy who gets it, but also like he wanted to be here all along. But the fact that, Iowa State was 5-0, this is somebody who typically does not discuss jobs during the season. So there was kind of that timing piece of it. I will tell you the other thing that really kind of struck me when you say like, what kind of person is Penn State getting? Maybe what kind of coach are the players getting in terms of like the human side of it? He told us that he was in his office until 2 a.m. Friday, so Saturday morning. He told his players at Iowa State Friday night that he was leaving, and he said he waited because he wanted to meet with every single guy, right? And said it wasn't until those guys told him, hey, coach, we understood you had to do this, you had to take that opportunity, that he felt okay with it, that he felt like it reaffirmed that he made the right decision. And I think that tells you a lot about a person, right? And again, like, it's college football. We're skeptical of everything in our roles as journalists. But to me, when he said that, I was like, yeah, I'm believing this guy. It feels genuine.
Yeah, I think part of that is this is the first day on the job. Like, get him time
100%.
to be beaten down by it, which
Give us 10
happens
years
to,
and we'll see.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see. But I do think he came off as genuine, and I do think that is an important part of this. The kind of he wants to be here aspect. He alluded to, like, if he wanted to leave Iowa State, he wanted to go somewhere where he would finish his career, right? Like, this is someone who clearly, intends on being at Penn State for a while. You don't sign an 8-year contract unless, or if you're
He's
planning
not
on
a
leaving.
climber, John. It kind of feels like a little bit of the anti James Franklin in that regard, right?
But I think
when James got here, he bounced around.
Yeah, but I think also with James originally, maybe he was that, but I think by the end, like, James was not just happy to be here; he wanted to be here. And I think,
but he wanted the runway fixed too.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, totally different personalities.
As this thing wears on, there will be things that Matt Campbell will say and do that will say, like, man, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the different vibe shift is definitely what I got.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think it's just someone that hasn't been worn down by it, right? Like someone who hasn't had to deal with it, because there are other parts of this job.
You said I was worn down, John? You said I was worn down by the last guy?
I'm saying that that Campbell is going to have to interact with people that are going to make him miserable at times. I'm not talking about the media, for what it's worth. He's going to have to interact with people that are going to make him miserable, that are, for lack of better phrasing, like, going to be a massive pain in the ass, and like, they're going to annoy him, and he's going to get frustrated.
You said that this is not us. We're not
right. Yeah, I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about people, the politics of Penn State football, if you will, or
the unique landscape here.
Yes, that will wear you down, and I'm sure that it will end up impacting him too in due time. But yeah, I thought it was refreshing to talk to someone who with that kind of. I actually found James more authentic than most did. I just think a lot of people didn't like who he was, but I thought he was being authentic with who he was in my time covering the team. Anyways, I was not here for the first half of his tenure, to be clear, when he was, I think, different. But I do think that, like, Campbell was authentic and more of a down to earth, like, happy to be here. Like, can you believe this is guy. Yeah. Can you believe this is my job kind of thing, rather than, like, he didn't feel, I think James always had something to prove because he came from nothing. Not saying Campbell didn't, but James came from nothing and felt like he was always trying to prove everyone wrong. Right. Like, and he was a grinder in that way. And like, he felt like he was any criticism was sort of an attack on him. Right. And I think Campbell, I did not get that sense that he feels that way, that he's always trying to prove people wrong. I think he's just trying to coach football, right? And like, that's what he wants to do at his core. And like, if he can do it at this kind of place, great. Otherwise, like, I think he would have been happy staying at Iowa State if he chose to do that. But it seems pretty clear that this was not just the right decision for Penn State, but I think the right decision for him too, and kind of chasing the next step after he got in Iowa State to its peak.
Yeah, and we know that, and this is something I think I'd hinted at this when we recorded Friday night, and I'd heard it again over the weekend, and we confirmed it today. He did talk with Kel Sanderson. This was after he'd accepted the job. on Saturday. He said Cale called him. They talked for like 45 minutes. To me, it was really interesting to hear about that because when Cale Sanderson left Iowa State, it was very much a, hey, I love it here. It's my alma mater, but I think I've taken this place as far as I can with the resources and all those kinds of things that we have. And it sounded like that was pretty much kind of the same demeanor and all the emotions that Campbell was working through and the feelings of like, man, I was here for a decade. And like, you have strong connections to these places that he said Cale was really a great resource for him. And we did also find out today, John, that he's apparently a bit of a wrestling fan, Matt Campbell. So that we're going to be seeing a lot of that, I guess.
Yes. And don't forget, if you are in the live chat, don't forget to leave questions for us. We will get to them here shortly. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button down below, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate that. I think we're inching closer to 4,000 subscribers. Leave all the questions you can, though. And like I said, we're going to get to them here soon. But yeah, I mean, talking to Cale can't hurt. That is as good of a sounding board as any in the Penn State program. It is interesting to see how quickly this changes, I think, from you're aspiring to this, like you're trying to get this job, to like, okay, now you have to do it, right?
Now
like
what?
Yeah, like he went from introductory presser at noon to which ended, I think, speaking with us at I think 1:20, around somewhere around there is when that started, and then he was meeting with the team at 2:00, and so it happens fast, right? And I think Penn State has tweeted out photos of the team that sort of
have they
first meeting. Yeah, you should look at them.
Probably look at these.
Yeah,
are they funny?
They're interesting.
Are people missing?
No, you'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, he's quickly having to go do the job, right? Like he's going to have to re-recruit guys on the roster. He's going to have to recruit guys to come here. He's going to have to figure out which coaches he likes and which coaches he doesn't, and who he wants to bring with him from Iowa State, which he was sort of asked about today. And we know that he's bringing a small group, right? I think his strength coach, I believe, was with him here today. Derek Hooger, his GM from Iowa State, is going to be with him and is going to be at Penn State as his GM. But he's got to figure all of that stuff out now. And then they all have to figure out everything about the players. Like, it is going to happen quickly.
Yeah, so the two planes that arrived Sunday, John and I were at the airport on a really cold day. I can't wait to see the Roar Plus footage, although they told me they edited me out where I'm standing there watching Packers Bears on my phone while everyone else is waiting for a plane to land. It was cold enough
that I was wearing a jacket. And for anyone who knows me knows that is like we have hit a threshold of freezing cold temperatures.
Yeah, it's like, what was it, a high of like 20 here today? Like it's not, it's winter has arrived in State College.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, the second plane yesterday, those were some of the support staff people, because we were all looking and trying to be like, okay, who is this? Who is this face? I've been going back and forth with some Iowa State folks saying, hey, do you recognize this face of this photo? Who is this guy? Because yeah, I mean, you have to get your staff in place. And then we know that it's going to take a few weeks for the actual like on-field coaching staff stuff beyond Terry Smith. Like we know Terry Smith is going to be part of this next staff. But yeah, I mean, the role of a GM is fascinating. We've talked about it on here before. We're going to continue to talk about it, especially with this program. And okay, so we know that Penn State's all in on rev share and having that full allotment of money. How do you divvy up that money? How do you spend it, right? Like, what do you value most? What positions do you value? Are you going to be a top-heavy roster financially or not? And these are all things you have to sort through. But also, this is a staff which we know Campbell told us that this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he's going to meet with everybody on the team. So every player on the roster, however long he wants to meet, he's going to meet with them. So you have to start figuring out what you have. And then he was asked about the Pinstripe Bowl and kind of like, how do you approach, these next, 3 weeks or whatever it is? And he said something like, I'm not really sure yet. I mean, I would guess it's going to be the advisory type role. You walk around, you observe, you get to know, these coaches, these players. But yeah, come January 2nd, the portal officially opens. It'll be crazy. We'll see who follows him here. But yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the sport right now. And it's probably like you're drinking out of a fire hose, trying to get familiar with this.
That's how he described his first head coaching job, I believe, when he got one. And so, yeah, I think it is going to be very interesting to see how he handles those bull practices, right? Like, I think a lot of coaches, a lot of times will say, I'm just going to be out of the way. I'm just observing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to interact at all. But he knows, like you said, they have to figure this out. Like, these bull practices are their best window into how guys handle practice, what it looks like, who fits the culture, and all of that stuff. So not that he's not going to be coaching, but I think he probably needs to be heavily invested, I guess, in how this plays out and trying to figure out who comes next and what the shape of the next Penn State team looks like. And I'm sure some of that will include Iowa State players too, right? Like, I don't know. Neither of us is going to be surprised if Rocco Beck's here next year. I'm not saying that anything is done or anything like that, but it's how this goes in this era, right? Like, head coach gets an upgrade of a job, their quarterback goes with them a lot, right? It's just how it happens.
GM goes with them, quarterback goes with them. Yeah, I mean, that's what this is. And I thought too that back to the Terry Smith piece, it was interesting to hear Matt Campbell say that he was familiar with Terry because when Terry was at Gateway High School, Matt was there recruiting guys and said, hey, like, there was a relationship there. And he'd mentioned watching that Nebraska game, which of course that was the game with the players with the signs for Terry afterward, which is also interesting because when you play the timeline back, here's this guy watching this game being like, oh yeah, it's Terry Smith. Like, wow, these guys are playing for him. That's cool. All while Penn State's probably like, hey man, we're waiting out Sitake, but like, we never heard from you. We were interested. And Matt Campbell has no idea that they're interested in him, right? Like, just crazy. Again, I have more details up on the coaching search over my Substack, Inside the Lions. Got a fresh piece up from our sit down with Matt Campbell today and the small group of reporters. We're going to have more stuff all week because this is one of those days, John, where you're like, all right, what do I want to write? And then what are the next 10 things to write?
Yes.
Because
what is the focus right now? And like, it's one a day till you're out, right? Like, today.
Are we ever out?
No, probably not.
Yeah. Then I suck you back in.
Yes. I have a story up right now. I think you just published just before we went live.
Yep.
I have a story on, how difficult of a decision this was for Campbell. A lot of that from that sort of meeting with the small group of reporters about why Penn State was the right fit, right? And I think that's a really interesting aspect of this because he really did have several other opportunities. He said that he had 2 other opportunities, right? Like that, and he would not name the schools. I am under the impression that one of those was USC, and that he could have been their next head coach. The story gets a little twisted and whether he accepted it and they pulled it, or he accepted it and he backed out. But USC was highly interested and had an offer on the table to Matt Campbell, from what I understand.
And so were the Detroit Lions.
Yes, and the Detroit Lions are the other one. Thank you. And so, like, he had these chances. I think Detroit just wanted to hire a Campbell coach. I think that was they got a little too.
I mean, listen, when
a little too hung up on the
Packers, you got to try whatever.
All right. We don't need to do this right now.
Nope.
We can pivot here to some questions. Again, leave them in the chat if you are here. First one I'm seeing: Zane opted out. Any word on more? No official word from anyone yet. There's going to be more. Like, he's not going to be the only player to opt out. I think that's pretty clear.
This bowl game to me, like, let's just lay this out there, John. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be probably pointless, right? Like, we can have it'll be meaningful to the guys who play this and that. Your top end guys, they've played their last game at Penn State. I'd be stunned if we see these NFL guys in a uniform. Rutgers was the end. Even having conversations with agents, right? Think about it this way. And I'm not sure if we talked about this on here before or not, but even if you're like a fringe NFL guy, right? Like if you're an undrafted free agent type prospect, the way an agent framed it to me is it is more valuable for my client to begin training now to maybe be able to run a 4.3 than it is to have 5 tackles in the Pinstripe Bowl. And if he starts training now, he has a better chance, putting himself, a better opportunity to maybe run that 4.3 than if he waits a month to then begin training. So there's so many different ways you can look at it. Sure, younger players, pride, whatever. One last go around for Terry, one last go around for probably most of his staff. It's a 6-6 bowl game. It is wild that it's against Clemson. Had you told us this in August, we would have said, "Yeah, playoff game. Where at?"
I think we both may have actually. I think we both actually may have predicted they played Clemson in the preseason.
Actually, we need to go back and find those because
we do.
See, one, how terribly wrong we were, but 2, that would be pretty great. Yeah, see, we told you guys all along, Clemson, Penn State.
Nailed it. It's just
bowl.
Yeah,
but
we weren't specific about the bowl game.
December 27th, which is a Saturday, noon, Yankee Stadium, Penn State, Clemson. We'll be there. We don't know who else from the roster will be there, but we'll be there.
Yes. Question here, is Campbell bringing any staff and players with him? So right now what we know is that, like I said earlier, the strength coach, the GM, I would anticipate them being here. Would anticipate
Some
other staff
people,
members too. Ops people, some of them are here. They were on the second plane behind him last night. I would anticipate some of his coaches come here. I anticipate some don't, and that Penn State tries to replace some of those guys with either new hires, or they have, like someone, just as an example, like if Deion Barnes were someone that he wanted to keep as a defensive line coach, like that could be the case there. Not saying it's guaranteed, because those guys are going to have opportunities too, and they could leave on their own volition, but it's going to be a mix of those things and new hires. I don't know that there's it's just really early, I guess, right now to say with certainty, because, I'm sure when he got on that plane yesterday leaving Iowa, it was, okay, these are the coaches I want to bring with me. And then maybe 24 hours later, minds get changed and he's not in the office anymore to have those conversations. So now it's like, it can fall apart. It can go in a million different directions.
That was also when you mentioned Matt Campbell arriving in State College. When he got off the plane on Sunday, that was his first time ever being here, which, like,
again, I was really surprised by that.
Right. For people in normal jobs, it's like, oh, wow, like you just committed to something sight unseen. But especially for a guy from Ohio, he said, no, he had never camped here, never been to a game here, like knew a lot about the place, obviously a lot about the background. Todd Blackledge, he mentioned Matt Millen and having a connection with Matt dating back from when Matt Campbell was at Toledo and he was a young, like up and coming coach. So, I just thought that was fascinating. Of like, yeah, literally, John, one of the first things he sees, steps off the plane, probably sees me watching Packers Bears on the phone and you wearing a jacket.
Yes. Which what a wonderful greeting to State College that is. Question here.
What a scene.
Who was at the press conference today? Was it just media or their players, staff in the balcony? His family was there. There were donors there. There were it was a pretty big crowd. Trustees. Neely Bendapudi was there, Penn State's president. I could not see who was up above us in the recruiting lounge. I don't know if you got good eyes on that.
No, I know there was like a donor event that was happening after us. So I think that's who was up in the gallery. I didn't see any players, presumably because this is last week of classes. So there's still stuff going on.
Yeah. Someone asked Matt when Matt Campbell was meeting with the players. He actually, I believe he met with some that were in the building last night when he was at Lash, like checking everything out. And then he was meeting with them at 2:00 today. I think Penn State, like I said, tweeted photos of that. Someone mentioned the possibility of keeping Jim Knowles as an analyst if you have to pay him anyways. I'm not dismissing Jim Knowles being the defensive coordinator next year. John Haycock, as I understand it, and again, these things are not finalized, is not going to be the defensive coordinator. Again, not a guarantee. This can change quickly, but as things stand, I think he's more likely to be in either an assistant or an analyst role. I think he's nearing retirement and probably, probably doesn't want to keep doing this doesn't want to have a defensive coordinator job for a year and then, you know what I mean? And then have Campbell searching for someone else. So my guess is, educated guess, we'll call it, is that Haycock is in some role other than defensive coordinator and that we don't know who the defensive coordinator is yet. Unless, of course, it breaks while we're doing this podcast and we're not.
I mean, we rule nothing out around here on the Nittany Dispatch.
So I keep checking my phone still whenever this happens. It scares me every time.
There's not enough caffeine for this week. I'm going to say that, and it's only Monday.
Yeah. This is an important question. Is Penn State better off with Campbell than they would have been with Sitake?
We'll play the game out. Regionally, I say yes, because obviously Ohio guy, he mentioned today the 6-hour kind of radius around campus and the talent here. Now, again, we mentioned this at some point last week, one of the many podcasts last week. Recruiting with an honor code at BYU, boy, that's a different job. That's a unique job.
It's as difficult as I would say recruiting to Ames, Iowa, for instance.
I mean, it might be harder, I think. I mean, it's a different right. I don't think we need to go any further down that path, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, these are both, I guess maybe I'll try to find a commonality, and I think there are commonalities between both of them. You're succeeding in difficult jobs, right? Like, I think that's the part, like, maybe this is what Pat Kraft wanted in this search of, like, I want guys who are doing a good job at, and I don't want to say under the radar, but like at difficult places, for various different circumstances. But yeah, man, that's going to be the thing that we'll never know. Obviously, life in the Big Ten is going to be challenging for Matt Campbell as it is for everybody. But yeah, I think we give it 2 more years and we still, kind of see where things are. But yeah, this is going to be a roster reset, I think, coming either way. So whatever head coach would have been dealing with all that.
I think it's pretty similar, honestly. Like, I think that's my honest take. I think they're both really good coaches. I think the regional ties probably don't matter as much as they used to. I think Sitake probably would have been brought in a better year one roster because he would have been bringing in a bunch of players, as I believe you reported at least 25, and I had up to as many as 30 is what I heard. You know what I mean? Like in that ballpark of BYU players that could have ended up at Penn State. So like if you're bringing a third of a roster that just played the Big 12 title game, that's pretty good.
They both would have kept Terry Smith, so there's that.
Yeah. I think this is the funniest question in the chat because of how dumb it is. Seems like a lot of crying. Is he going to be okay? God forbid he shows emotion about something that means a lot to him.
Whoa. So the last guy was too robotic.
Yeah, right.
This is salesman. Yes. And then the guy shows emotion, and we don't like that either.
Just an unbelievable level of hypocrisy. And listen,
it
meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to him to have this opportunity to get this job. It made him feel things. How dare he? Right? It's just dumb.
If you want a robot, I'm sure we can find one. I'm sure we can find many of them.
I just wanted to point that out because it just drives me insane. Someone asked, didn't fully track the timeline during the presser. Was the call with the governor before or after he took the job? I believe that was, he said Thursday night, right?
I have to go back and look at that. That was another wrinkle today. I was unaware that the governor was getting involved in the coaching search. I thought that only happened in other states.
Yeah, that's a good point. I believe it was Thursday night. I'd have to go back and check the transcript for sure, to be sure, but but I believe it was Thursday night, unless I misinterpreted.
Let me see. I'll look it up.
Yeah, and I will go to the next question. What's our intuition on what the coaching staff senior positions will look like? I assume in reference to like assistants and coordinators. We just kind of don't know right now. And, I hate to say that, right? Like we always want answers to these things. I know fans want answers to these things, but I think right now that's where it's at because the evaluation has to happen on both ends, right? Like Campbell has to evaluate who on the Penn State staff he wants to retain, and Campbell has to evaluate who on the Iowa State staff kind of meets the standard, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if their offensive coordinator last year joins this staff, but not as the offensive coordinator, because being the offensive coordinator at Iowa State is very different than being the offensive coordinator at Penn State. And it takes a certain level of like, I don't want to come off as overly critical because it does seem like he did a fine job, especially for a young offensive coordinator. But when you get someone more high profile who has a better track record, you should go do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The timeline, back to the timeline question, the call with Governor Josh Shapiro was Thursday night.
Nailed it.
So that would have been, so let's see, that would have been Tuesday, everything falls apart. Wednesday night, Pat Kraft and him communicate late Wednesday night.
Over Zoom.
Thursday, he meets with Neely Bendapudi, talks to her.
Penn
State brass. Yeah.
Thursday morning. Yes.
Penn State brass goes to Ames Thursday night. Josh Shapiro calls him Thursday night. By Friday, he's still deciding, makes the decision Friday, then meets with his team Friday night till 2 a.m. And then it's been a sprint ever since.
Yeah. Someone asked if we can elaborate on the political landscape issues at Penn State. There are warring factions, for lack of a better way to phrase it.
And it's not new. It's been like this for years. Yeah.
Yeah. Between the old guard of once Penn State to operate a certain way and the new guard who's trying to bring Penn State into the 21st century of college football. It's like there's a reason they struggle with NIL funding because of the way people view the game. And so that's always going to create tension. I'm not saying either side is right, although I'm sure people can guess which side I would agree with. But like, I think
what side, John? What side?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I just think that is going to be the case as long as those people care about that sort of thing and are pushing for those sorts of things. Question here: if did Neely Bendapudi travel to Ames? No, not as far as I know. I believe that call Thursday morning was either over the phone or on video call or something of the sort. Was not in person. She did not fly Thursday night when they went to Ames, which I believe that was the only trip that Pat Kraft and his sort of circle made to Ames to go talk to Matt Campbell.
Yeah, he did not take questions today either. I wanted to kind of ask some things.
That was a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I would have liked the chance to ask about like how she viewed the search and whatnot, but I digress. Maybe we'll get that chance at some point. Probably not.
Probably never.
Yeah. Let's see here. Someone asked if Terry's main role is still undecided. People read associate head coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he is the associate head coach, and then like there's another title of some sort, whether it's a position, whether it's like some sort of like, I don't know, whatever it is. Like the rule that used to be in place about like you can only have 10 assistant coaches, like kind of doesn't exist and kind of does. It's you can assign any 10 coaches to go recruit at any time, and now analysts and grad assistants can also coach on the field. So it's not really a rule anymore as long as you have the money to pay enough coaches. But yeah, I think it's mostly not an issue anymore for those sorts of things, right? Like, so Terry could share a position with someone or whatever, like however you want to describe it. I would not be surprised though if like Hank Poteet, who is the corners coach, or Deion Broomfield, their safeties coach. I wouldn't be surprised if either of those guys were at Penn State. But again, all of that is very much up in the air. Let's take a quick break, though, for Audrey to tell us about our lovely friends at Roback.
John, we matched tonight.
We do. Unsurprising that I would wear Roback at the intro presser.
I was not wearing Roback at the intro presser. I changed when I came home. But our friends at Roback, you can save 20% off of your first purchase when you use code TND20. That's TND20 as in the Nittany Dispatch 20. Save 20% off of your first purchase of Roback apparel. John, I think you also went with at least the double Roback today. I think it was the hoodie and the joggers.
Yes, always the khaki joggers. Incredibly comfortable, especially in those tiny little desks in the Beaver Stadium media room that are not built for someone that is 6'2". The joggers help
stand
the
up
cost.
and do you want to show off the joggers?
We're not.
You don't have the Roback hat on tonight, however.
I don't. So what's funny is this is the bent bill hat, but my head's so big that it doesn't like. Usually when I would wear it, like it's like this.
So as
my head continues
starting
to
the
grow.
Transition to the Matt Campbell bill.
Yeah. Listen, this is the one that I had promised I would wear on our live episode on Friday night, whenever that was.
We don't know what day it is either.
Yeah. But yeah, this is what we get. But yeah, Roback.
Our friends
wonderful.
over at DraftKings.
Do not have a promo code currently, so we will get to that as soon as we can.
Well.
But yes, Roback TND20. Don't forget on your first order. And now let's get back to the show and back to your questions. Again, if you have them, leave them in the chat. I regret asking for them because they are piling up and I am behind.
I know.
So I'm going to try and get through
these. You can't keep up.
Yes. We appreciate everyone asking, though. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. So someone asked if it's surprising that Zane Duran decided to opt out. Isn't he a captain? Listen, I don't think that kind of stuff impacts these sorts of things. I think other players respect those decisions. I don't think there's a "you're quitting on us" type of thing that I think fans could feel. But I think it's more of, go get, you know what I mean? Like, this game doesn't mean anything. Go get what you got to get and to get ready for the draft.
And how many of these guys too who ultimately opt out? I'm sure we'll probably see a good number of these guys still around the team in some capacity, right? Like maybe they'll be hanging out at practices or they show up for the game. Like, and again, this is not new. We've seen this in years past, but yeah, I think the profile of this bowl game, any non-playoff game, you are going to have challenges getting guys to play. And with a team with so many draft eligible players, that's why you got to this point. And I know there were a lot of questions about, well, can't Penn State just opt out of this bowl game? Why don't they opt out? Wouldn't it be nice if they just opted out? Penn State was at one point was considering, like, could they get a waiver? Could they look into it and say, hey, like, we have a coaching change. We got a lot of stuff going on. The portal's going to open all this. The conference wants teams to play. And in this era of rev share and collecting your checks, you got to find ways to bring in the money. So they are going to New York. I haven't seen a schedule yet for them, like just how long they'll be there. I mean, so many of these games have changed. I know for John and I, like, it's literally going to be covered just like it's a regular weekend away game. Like,
go up Friday, come back Saturday night.
Yeah, like it's not a week-long thing. There's probably there's no media day there in New York or anything like that. It's just very short. Hey, this season's over. Everybody quick, hurry up. The portal's opening soon.
Yeah, I think that sums it up well. Some people asking about sort of the contract situation with that. I don't think it's going to come into play here. I don't know. It's a weird
Oh, player
situation.
contracts, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it's that
New Year's Six
the
bowls.
wording is that yes, if it's like a New Year's Six or playoff game, then they're contractually obligated. That is
Yeah.
my understanding. So yeah, so a game like this, you can still not play and get your money.
Yeah, I saw someone ask why Iowa State declined a bowl bid. They are really banged up, like super hurt,
Yeah.
and most of their coaches are probably leaving. And their like strength coach and like so many
Yeah,
people are
same
leaving the
Matt
program.
Campbell. Yeah, he talked about that with us today, and he's like, yeah, like it's like sad, it's upsetting, but like I get it. You know, the players like they voted, right? That was,
Yeah,
I believe, how that happened there. Which I
yeah.
wonder. I'd be curious. We'll never get an answer to this, but had Penn State's players been allowed to vote, I wonder how that vote would have gone. I don't know.
I'm gonna guess Penn State wouldn't be playing in a bowl game if that were the case. Someone said that we better be on this Netflix limited series. For those who don't know, Pat Kraft said that the coaching search could be on Netflix one day. If you would like the script for it, you can head to SenderDaily.com, where I wrote this morning about like how this played out, sort of step by step. And Audrey, you can find her writing at InsideLines.substack.com, where she had a sort of notebook where she emptied everything out for what happened
John,
during the search.
but who would play us in such a dignified? I mean, that's the thing. Like
I don't want the answers to this.
Yeah,
I don't.
the answers are not going to go well for either of us on this.
They're only going to hurt my feelings. Someone with my favorite question I've ever seen in the chat. Do you have any thoughts on Franklin rehiring the guy he replaced as head coach onto his staff? When I saw that James was rehiring Brent Pry, which is a thing that I had heard would happen early, some people at like Virginia Tech were like, no, it won't happen. And I was like, kind of like, watch, he's going to do it. and he did. And I don't think I've been that happy in a long time, because it is very funny to me. If Brent Pry, like if I'm Brent Pry, I'm requesting separate checks each week, like or every 2 weeks or every month or whatever it is. Like I want my buyout check, and I also want my salary. I just think it is one of the most wonderful things in college football that has ever happened. It's very funny.
But it's also not surprising at all, because we know James Franklin, and we know that once you are in James's inner circle, he trusts you, and then you're his guy. And Brent Pry has been that for him for a long time. I mean, even going back to Vanderbilt, I remember Brent telling me when James was, and this came up earlier, I'm glad I finally went back, because somebody had asked, when James was a candidate at Penn State the last time, who else, was in the mix for the job. And James at that point was also like looking around at Texas a little bit. And that news broke when they were at whatever their bowl game was, that like James was in the running at Texas. Because I remember Brent Pry saying he went to James and was like, so what do we do about this? Like the kids are going to ask, like it's on the bottom of ESPN. What do we do? And he's like, James, is this true? And so Brent was, keyed in at that point on James. And so with every move James has made since then, this has been his guy. So not surprised at all. It is absolutely hilarious, which also, and I think we might have hit on this here before when we were down in Blacksburg for James's intro presser. I think James mentioning Brent Pry and the role that he played in helping him, get to Virginia Tech, and that like, oh, this makes sense. I think that was also James kind of floating it out there to say, hey, how does the fan base take this, this response? And it sure seemed like fans took that as, hey, good on Brent Pry. He loves this place so much so that after getting fired, he would help convince James Franklin to be here. So yeah, I think we kind of saw it trending this way all along.
Yeah, and it's still very funny. A lot of people noticing that you got rid of all of your Rutgers gear and your Rutgers couch that you had conveniently for only the game against Rutgers.
Not true. This is on my desk. Welcome to SHI Stadium.
Yeah, Sh Stadium.
Wi-Fi password.
It's Sh Stadium.
Sh Stadium.
Yes. Very funny to me.
Yeah, no Rutgers couch anymore for me.
Yeah. This is a good question. Does anything we learned today change our expectations for next year and beyond? I will let you take that first.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I thought from the get-go that this was someone who is going to fit in nicely here, who I think is really good at identifying and developing talent. Again, we talked Friday, and I said, maybe it's an 8-4 type situation next year because of the roster overhaul. Nothing to me changes anything today. I mean, you got to go out and put in the work, and you have to identify these guys. I did think too, when you look at Iowa State and the portal and the guys that they were able to attract, again, this is where the financial piece is so different. And when people want to, make the comparison. And I know that was kind of like the knee-jerk reaction from some fans was like, oh, well, look at the record here and look what they did there. And it's like, no, this is apples to oranges because they were so hamstrung financially that they couldn't get in the mix for those guys. So if anything, like, it probably accelerates the timeline here, because if you're as good as identifying and developing as they've shown they were in a difficult spot, I think that translates here, right? Like, you got to think that translates. And then you mix in, the financial resources, and if anything, probably speeds up the process a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. The winning in the Big Ten is not easy. And Penn State found that out this year too.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. I put it more like a little more succinctly. Like, I gave it an A- when it we wrote about it over on SaturdayDaily.com, and I'd give it an A- today. Right, like, I thought it was a really good hire. He's going to win a lot of games at Penn State. I think he's a really good coach.
What's the minus, John? Why not an A?
You got to ding him a little bit for the search. Like, it's just like not a ton. But so
it's not the hire, it's the search.
It's the hiring process.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and everything that went into this.
Because I'd like to see your rubric, John, as I have to show my students. Yeah. Here's the rubric. Here's -2 because of this.
All right.
Got to lay it out.
Are we looking forward to years of press conferences with Matt? How is he with the media? I think you have some insight into this, Audrey.
Yeah, seems to be fine. Seems to be good. I mean, I enjoyed normal. Today.
The separate conversation we had, I thought he was engaging. I thought he was authentic. Like, he was was laughing at jokes, making jokes. Like, it did not feel like he was tense in that situation. It felt like he was, honestly, and I described this way in my story, it felt like a little bit of a reprieve for him, because he's like jammed in front of a bunch of cameras all day today. Like, there's constant photos, constant videos of him, and there was no videos or photos in there. And like, he was just kind of able to be himself and talk. And I thought it was great.
Yeah. Again, we'll see. Like, I have no idea what his media plans are in terms of what access for us is going to look like next year. Like, this guy's got way more other important things to do before we get to that. But yeah,
we'll figure that out before the season rolls around. Someone asked about Matt Patricia. How legitimate was that, or just speculation? I reported in my story this morning that they interviewed Matt Patricia Wednesday. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the timeline. I think it was when they interviewed Patricia first on Wednesday, then it was Campbell, and then it was Tommy Rees on Thursday. Yeah. I think it's in the story. It's at SaturdayDaily.com if you'd like to read it. But it was real. I think they were really impressed by Patricia too, which I'm going to guess a lot of people would have clipped some old podcasts of us and just had them circulating on Twitter.
No, not of us, just of John.
No, us. We're a collective. We're two people and doing one podcast. It's our opinion when it's wrong. It's mine when it's right.
That's right.
Someone asked, in the audio leak, there's another voice, not a player. Can we identify who it was? I believe that was Associate AD Vinny James. He's essentially the sport administrator for football.
Oh, and Pat Kraft was asked about the audio leak today. We should probably mention that.
Yes.
Said that he was embarrassed by it. He didn't mean to offend anyone. I think it was pretty much like it was that. I do think, though, like,
I do think the purpose of it being leaked backfired on the people who did
it.
I'll say
because I think it's like curried him goodwill with fans. Yes. Like he wants to win. See how bad he wants to win. Like,
it sounded like a conversation that we have about this team. And I understand people wanting like that, like wanting someone who's an administrator and someone who's, like, for lack of better phrasing, like in the C-suite of this organization, like to be hyper professional all the time. But like anyone who's had a conversation with Kraft knows that's not how he is. Neely Bendaputi knows that, right? Like she knows exactly who he is as a person.
She didn't. She found out. Yeah.
Right. But like she knew who he was when she hired him. And like, I don't think anyone was surprised by this. Like no one was like, completely shocked that he would swear as much as he did. They may have been surprised that it wasn't as frequent. Like it was just like, I think that kind of stuff is like, it's just who he is. And like, there is some good, some bad with Kraft, but he is authentic. And that's, I think, a part of it.
And now we have some more questions about Oregon and why he does not like people at Oregon, I guess. That's we have this forever question now.
Yeah, clearly not a fan of Oregon. Someone asked any thoughts on who is the offensive coordinator. I think that there's a chance that they go big game hunting there a little bit. I don't think it's I'm going to get everyone so mad, and I'm so sorry. I don't think it's impossible that Kotelnicki stays. I don't expect it, but let me be clear with that phrasing.
Oh, boy.
I don't think it's impossible. There's a wide range.
It's possible. You're telling me there's a chance.
Right, like that sort of situation. I don't expect it to be the case, but maybe Campbell thinks he's a wonderful offensive coordinator. Like I do think he's going to do a better job at the at the next job than he did this year. But yeah, I think they're going to try and hire someone like at the high end, right? Like go get a guy. You know what I mean? Like go get like someone at the top of the list. Yes.
Let's keep doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone asked about it sounds like Kraft who knows who leaked the audio, assuming it's a player, will they be dismissed from the team? I do not anticipate anything like that happening. Like this kind of stuff is like, yes, it's illegal. It's also super hard to prove, and it's also like it's you're opening yourself up to a whole other can of worms if this goes down that road, I guess.
Maybe it's just a come to Jesus meeting, right? Maybe you just have one of those. They're 18 to 22, 23-year-olds. Like, yeah.
You have a conversation, you kind of hash it out, and you be done.
And you record the conversation. Just kidding.
Yeah. If you ask everyone involved, you can record the conversation.
I was, as John knows, I was very close to making that joke today when everybody stepped into the room and say, "Excuse me, guys, does everyone agree to being recorded?" But it's a press conference, so they know the drill.
Yeah, that does not apply in that specific situation. Let's see here. Someone said Campbell didn't mention on another show about his old agent getting contacted first. I don't think that's something he is aware of, or that's not something he can know because he wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't his person at the time. Someone asked if Indiana's replacing Penn State as the perennial powerhouse in the Big Ten. Indiana's really good, but listen, there's going to be a leadership void there next year. I'll be curious to see. They're going to have to do some portal work that I think will be very interesting. Will Matt Kraft be vacationing in Oregon this summer? I'm going to guess no.
Probably not. Yeah, it sounds like a hard no.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty aggressive no. This, I think, is important too. When do you see James filling his staff? So any coaches from Penn State that go to Virginia Tech, I would anticipate that being after Penn State's bowl game. Mm-hmm. So if Ty Howell were to go be the offensive coordinator, for instance, like just name out of a hat a random position or a random job that they could take. For instance, if Ty Howell were going to be the next offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, I don't anticipate him leaving until after the Pinstripe Bowl. They want to see out this season.
Yeah, that window, that time frame, Pinstripe Bowl 27th, 28, 29, 30, 31, 1, portal opens 2. We're going to be in it. Like that's going to be, and again, players can still announce their portal intentions before then, but January 2nd is when it, officially opens, and then good luck to all of us. It's going to be chaotic.
Yeah. Someone mentioned that wasn't illegal in the state that it was recorded in because it was in New York. I don't believe that was in New York.
Penn State's meeting?
Yeah, the leaked audio meeting. I am under the
impression I believe that was here. Like it was the week of Rutgers, but I believe it was the Monday of Rutgers week. Yeah. Not 100% sure on that. Week. Yeah, I believe it was that Monday. Any chance Campbell pulls Jason Candle away from UConn for the offensive coordinator hire? I think if that were going to be the case, Candle wouldn't have taken the head coaching job. I think that was a name to watch for sure at the time. I also think potentially Nate Shieldhouse is a name to watch that they could try and pull. Not that that's a guarantee or anything. He would have to want to come back to the college game, but someone who's very highly thought of, had some success at Iowa State previously, and now as a pass game specialist or pass I can't remember his exact title. Yeah. With the Rams, learning under Sean McVay. He's in the learning under Sean McVay role, which is a really great guy to learn from under. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's sort of the kind of name that they target. But that remains to be seen. I think that's something they still have to work through. Like that's the other part of this. Like when people ask about staff stuff, it's like we can't know if they don't know. Like we're going to try and get the information as soon as possible and convey it to our audience, our listeners, our readers. But if they don't know, we certainly don't know. We can't kind of project out. Big Dom.
Yeah, you think is that the plan?
I did see you started to blush a little bit today when you mentioned Nick Sirianni. I had to turn around and John was starting to blush a little bit. That
was not blush. That was my face filling with rage.
Rage, or that's when the heat in the media room kicked on. It went from like 20 degrees to 80. Yeah.
That was me getting angry about this Eagles game that I'm going to watch tonight.
But there is the Sirianni connection to that came up today which I fully
Someone did
anticipate
say, what
we'll
about
see him
Kevin
up here.
Patullo, who might need a job?
Boy, wow. Yikes.
Kevin Patullo might be available in 4 hours. A lot of Eagles fans in the chat tonight.
Well, they got some time to kill before the game, so we're glad you're hanging out here with us.
Yes, always. And I promise you, this won't extend into the game. Looks like we're running a little low on questions. This might be a good place to leave it. We're going to be back probably later this week.
Yeah, I forgot. I believe we do talk to Terry Smith tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's a
Bowl.
weird setup. We'll get some comments on him. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy or anything like that. Yeah. My guess is that we will be back at some point later this week as stuff happens. When coaches get hired and stuff like that, we'll be here. I think we're planning on going to, I know during the season we did one midweek, one post-game, probably do 2 a week here for the foreseeable future, and then kind of switch whenever.
When things calm down, which is like in 4 years, I think, or 12 years, or whenever. I have not even parsed through. It's a tab I have open, but I know obviously the contract terms came out for Campbell pretty much right as I was getting into the media room, because it's like the formal process of Board of Trustees approves it. So I do want to parse through those. I saw some of the bonuses. Obviously tied to GPAs, tied to bowl games, all those kinds of things. But why are you laughing?
Some very funny questions in the chat. Did Campbell stop before you guys asked a question and made you guys answer how you were doing? Which it is funny. Weird. We got trained into doing that, and now like it's hard for me not to just be like, hey, how are you? You know what I mean? Like, it is. I got trained. I'm not proud of that, but like I
think I've already ditched my training. I think I just got right back to the question.
Although
again.
I was going to say today, I think I went straight to the questions. It's also easier when you like can have a conversation with someone before, like in the, you know what I mean? Like you talking about the breakout thing, like it's not this hyper formal environment.
We should have really like messed the whole day up and just been, hi Matt, turkey or ham.
Yeah, right.
Like, just what the hell? Yeah.
Yes, just made him as upset as I was every Thanksgiving press conference. Couldn't wait. It was always wonderful. There are a lot of similar questions like that in the chat. They're all making me laugh. I think this is a good place to leave it. Obviously, a good place to leave it. I'll throw that bone out there for the chat. We appreciate everyone that's here.
It's a combination of things, John. It's a combination of things.
It's all of it. It's
all of it.
It's all of it. The runway. Where else? What else are we missing?
Poor runway, man.
Yeah. Honestly, even a little bit poor James. Like some of this stuff is just like a verbal crutch.
When you're when you're someplace for so long.
Yeah, everyone picks up on
it. I did find myself today trying to be like, all right, what are Matt Campbell, like what are the things that he says that I'm gonna pick up on? Or like when you're transcribing quotes. But yeah, it's the honeymoon period with the guy. We have to ease into it.
Someone said, I finally believe it won't be Fran Brown. I did see earlier in the chat, someone say, what about Fran Brown as defensive coordinator? I wasn't sure if they were serious or if they were in on the bit. I didn't want to bring it up, but it is very funny if it's in on the bit.
Nothing about Brian Hartline tonight?
Yeah, nothing about Hartline, unless someone wants to throw it in there.
We're good. We're good. No, we're good. Let's end it there.
Yeah. I think that is a good place to leave it. We will be back later this week with another podcast and another live show to take all of your questions. As always, we appreciate each and every, there it is, Brian Hartline. ? We appreciate each and every one of you. The show can't end until someone mentions Brian Hartline. If you want to read Audrey's work, you can find it InsideTheLines.substack.com. You can find her on Twitter at AudSnyder4 and on Blue Sky. If you search AudreySnyder.bsky.social, you can find all of my work at SenderDaily.com. You can find me on Twitter at John Sauber and on Blue Sky. If you search JohnSauber.bsky.social, there's going to be a lot of writing coming out of this next week or so. This is
month, year.
Yeah, from today, from all of this. So we appreciate all of you guys reading. We appreciate everyone watching. If you're listening after the fact on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. I've noticed not a lot of recent reviews. If we could get some recent reviews, that would be really nice. We'd greatly appreciate it.
It'd be helpful because again, best stuff's always behind the paywall for us, but we keep this as a free service to keep people engaged and informed. But yeah, best stuff will always be behind our paywalls.
Someone asked if I can confirm that James's $9 million buyout will be paid in one lump sum.
Oh no,
we're playing the hits tonight.
We are playing the hits tonight. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think that. Oh, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribe.
Get alerted to when we go live.
Shout out to Melinda, who mentioned earlier that we're at 3.74 thousand subscribers on YouTube. So and it's about 260 away from 4,000. Would love to get there by the time we record next or go live next.
If we could get to like 4,009 subscribers, that'd be nice.
Okay, we don't need to do that. I think 4,090 would be better. All right, we will be back later this week. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.